You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. And today, guys, I'm going to give you my top 10 things that you should have seen or watched in 2020. So let's go. At number 10, we got Bad Boys for Life. Yeah, man. I remember this movie coming out in the beginning of 2020. I went to go see it with Al and my wife. And man, I just remember the blast that we had, laughing, looking at old characters from our past, when I was back in, it must have been high school or college, where these, the first Bad Boys came out. Just seeing Martin Lawrence and also Will Smith back as Mike Lowrey and Marcus was absolutely fantastic. It was funny. It was action-packed as it normally is for the Bad Boys series. But more importantly, it was a really good story for us. And it just was a good way to start 2020 with the movies. Of course, we didn't know the pandemic was coming. So it kind of ended up being one of the top 10 movies that we saw this year. Again, Bad Boys for Life, a great time, a good story with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith going through these issues with Armando Aretas, I think it was the bad guy's name, which ended up being Will Smith's son. It was just an absolute fantastic story and a good time at the theaters. And it's one of those things I think you personally should see. At number 9, I got Extraction, one of the movies that came out from Netflix, one of those straight to streaming kind of movies. Expectations were low because it was a Netflix movie, and at the time we thought you can't get good Netflix movies. It's just going to be something that's just shouldn't have been in theaters, so that's why they put it on Netflix. Incorrect. Probably one of the most action-packed movies I've seen in a long time. Chris Hemsworth plays Tyler Rake, and he plays this no-nonsense, ex-military, get the job done, no fucking around type guys here. And it has one of these scenes in the movies that kind of shocked me. Was there was a scene where a goon or one of the kidnappers puts a gun to his head, to Tyler Rake's head, which is Chris Hemsworth's character. And without us knowing, or without Tyler Rake really knowing, the gun was empty. The guy shoots the gun at his head, and it's empty. And Tyler Rake didn't even blink. He's like, it's probably one of the most realistic things I've ever seen. So at number 9, something I think you guys should watch, and it's on Netflix, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to watch, Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. At number 8, I got, surprising to me, The Way Back with Ben Affleck. I didn't expect much from Ben Affleck, in the movie, in this, The Way Back. I didn't expect much because the trailers were kind of like, just looks like kind of like a sad or almost like an interpretation of his issues with alcohol. As you guys know, Ben Affleck did go to, I believe, rehab for alcohol abuse, and also he had some drinking issues. So it was kind of like, to me, like, this is going to be like a play on what's going on in his life. But when I sat down and watched this movie, I'm not big into dramatic movies and to movies that just are basically just talking throughout the entire movie. But this movie hit home, and it might be because I'm a dad, I'm a father, and I thought about what this movie was about, with him dealing with issues with his child, and I kind of just put myself in his place to figure out how I would handle things and how I would feel. And when you find out what happened to his son, you almost say to yourself, I understand why this man drank the way that he drank and had this issue that he was dealing with, this disease that he was dealing with called alcoholism. So to see that on top of that, he ends up playing a sport that's one of my favorite basketball sports there. And, you see him trying to coach this team that was basically just not handling things correctly, not working together, and then he gets them on a straight path. It's a combination of the story of basketball, his son. Man, this movie just ended up being in my top 10 all year long. I never took it down. It just, compared to some of the other things I saw this year, this one was number 8. But again, The Way Back with Ben Affleck is something you should see, or you should have saw in 2020. At number 7, this is only supposed to be about movies. I get this. It's supposed to be top 10 movies of 2020. But this had to get in there, and it would be higher if it was a movie, but it's not. Your boy, Hav, got The Mandalorian season 2, the entire season. You got to watch it from the first episode to the last episode. And when you get to the last episode, you're going to lose your goddamn mind. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to lose your goddamn mind. If you're not a Star Wars fan, probably not going to watch it. But if you do watch it, I guarantee you're going to like a few or if not all the episodes on there. And then when you get to the end, we all know Luke. We all know Luke Skywalker. If you don't watch Star Wars, you at least know who Luke Skywalker is. And I mean, you can't deny that ending to the season. And it was just magical. Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka. You got all these different characters coming into the movie. Plus the Mandalorian's relationship with Grogu, Baby Yoda. I mean, this season 2 was incredible. I'm telling you, it would probably be number 2 or 3 in my list if it was a movie. But I feel bad even sneaking this into the top 10 of 2020. So The Mandalorian season 2, just get your Disney Plus. Can't even talk about it no more. Amazing. At number 6, I got Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix. You want to see acting? You want to see a play turned into a movie? Just like almost like Hamilton, but more movie-ish on this one. You gotta watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. If you're a fan of Chadwick Boseman, who passed away unfortunately this year due to his battle with cancer, and this guy just takes on roles that are magical, roles that mean something. But not only that, himself, the way he takes on these roles and becomes the person, and his performance is absolutely amazing. And his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is nothing short of unbelievable. You will feel something watching this man act. You will feel this man being someone else, being this character Levy in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that just comes off incredible. It's actually the last movie I saw in 2020. I didn't even have it on my list of anything, and it was just something that I wanted to see because it was his last performance. And when I watched it, I was left in amazement with his character, his acting, and not to sell short Viola Davis's character as Ma Rainey herself. She kills it as well. You understand her when she gets to explain why she acts and feels a certain way. And the two characters going back and forth as the villain of the movie and the hero of the movie, going back and forth, and then you just see the turn, and it's absolutely incredible. It's breathtaking. It would be higher if it wasn't something that I know I probably won't see more than once again, right? Because it's one of those movies that's deep, it hits hard, and it's almost like you don't want to experience that pain again because it's almost uncomfortable to feel that pain. But the fact that it can make you feel that pain tells you how good that acting in that movie is. And it literally takes place basically in one setting once the movie gets rolling. The beginning has a couple of different scenes, but it basically, for the last hour and 20, 15 minutes, it's in one place, one building, and it's absolutely incredible. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is something you need to see, or you should have saw in 2020. At number 5, we're getting to the top 5, guys. One of the top 5 things you should have saw in 2020, or you should still see, because it's still 2020, so go see it. The Invisible Man. Oh my Lord. That movie took us by surprise. It's one of these Blumhouse movies where they make good movies. You never think anything too crazy as like, oh my God. But after this movie, The Invisible Man, I looked at Blumhouse completely different. I'm like, I'm giving every movie they make a shot. Now, not to say there's one of the greatest horror movies I've ever seen, but for this year, as far as horror movies go, this one steps up. And the story itself, but more importantly, Elizabeth Moss, her acting as Cecilia in The Invisible Man is absolutely insane. The story is insane. And one of our heroes in this movie, James Lanier, also is awesome in this movie. You got this story going where you're not sure if she's actually crazy, she's seeing what she's seeing, and then when they show you that he's really there, it's absolutely fucking sick. So it's pretty crazy. And also, not to mention, there is one scene in this movie that I guarantee you, if you haven't seen it and you don't know anything about it, when it happens, you will literally have your mouth drop and you will go, oh shit. So if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, you will do. So number 5, The Invisible Man. Please go check it out, or you know what I'm talking about. At number 4, I can't even believe I'm about to say this is at number 4. Sonic the Hedgehog. My God. That movie was amazing. Talk about Jim Carrey is back. I mean, Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, he absolutely stole this entire film. But as well as Sonic himself, Sonic was absolutely amazing. Thank God they changed that animation to put the Sonic that we all know and love. But besides Sonic, besides Dr. Robotnik, the movie itself had a good story. It was a sweet, it was funny, it was entertaining, it was adventurous, and to see it play out like that is absolutely, that movie should have bombed. That movie should have been terrible because it's one of these, video game movies that come out that you just don't put too much thought into it. You're like, yeah, video game movies suck. Not Sonic. Sonic was amazing. This thing is at number 4 out of my top 10. That's insane. So listen, if you haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog, you need to go rent it, video on demand it, or anything. And you want to see Jim Carrey be back as the funny guy from Liar Liar and from all those movies in the past that he was amazing at, you need to check this out because it's Jim Carrey at his best. And we got Sonic the Hedgehog, an actual great video game movie, giving me hope for the future. Number 4, Sonic the Hedgehog. At number 3, we got The Gentleman. I absolutely love this movie. Oh my goodness. I thought it was going to be number 1 for a long time, and then these 2 other movies came out that we'll get to in a second. But I absolutely thought it was a funny, adventurous, great time. You had so many different elements. You had the crime mob, you had the drug dealing, you have the interaction of the characters, violence, wordplay, and just funny situations that deal with violence. And it was just, I didn't expect to like it this much. While I was watching it, I was at first taken aback by the way that they were speaking and the different comments that were happening in the movie. And I was like, is this movie going to be like this the whole time? And it was freaking funny. Once I got the rhythm of the movie and how everything was going on, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. At the end of the movie, I ended up doing this right here, just clapping and cheering. And I actually saw it twice. It was just a funny movie. And I think even the second viewing made it even better because I knew what to kind of expect and I just got to watch the movie. So it was absolutely amazing. The Gentleman, featuring Charlie Hunnam, Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Grant. There's a bunch of different actors in this movie, and you're going to end up loving this movie if you give it a shot. Again, The Gentleman, my number 3 movie for 2020 that you should have saw or you should still see. At number 2, big argument whether we should consider it a movie or not, and it was a monumentous thing that happened when it came out. And number 2 is Hamilton. My Lord. Let me set you off with Hamilton here. My wife is not big on musicals at all. And to say that she loved it is an understatement. And I also have coworkers that don't stop singing the songs from Hamilton. It was just something that was amazing to see. And it was like something that gave us a little bit of something to look forward to while we were dealing with, shutdowns and the pandemic and being home and just locked up in our houses kind of thing, because we, at this time it was still like early on in the pandemic phase. And my Lord, Hamilton was so big. I heard about it because I live in New York, and you hear about the Broadway shows that are amazing, and Hamilton was always at the top of the list. But at the same time, Hamilton was like, the tickets were going on sale for like $300, $500, off the market there, and you couldn't really get the chance to see it. It was always sold out. So this was the opportunity to see what the hell the big deal was. And then when you watch it, you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. And if you watch it more than once, you will start to see things that you didn't see the first time, the second time, or the third time. The fact that the end of this movie, or the end of this play, takes back everything that it did before is absolutely amazing. There's a song called Rewind that is absolutely flawlessly amazing. I mean, there's just the lyrics, the content, the subject matter. Everything that happens in this thing is amazing. I don't know whether to call it a play or a movie. To me, it's a movie because I saw it played out as a movie. It wasn't just watching a stage. It was cuts and scenes and different things happening at the same time. So to me, it's a movie, and it's my number 2 thing that I saw this year. Hamilton, please, if you have not seen it, give it a shot. If you don't like musicals, give it a shot. If you like hip hop, give it a shot. If you don't like hip hop, I don't care, give it a shot. Hamilton was the bee's knees for 2020. Make sure you give it a look. Hamilton, my number 2. And at number 1, my number 1 thing that you should have seen in 2020, or you should still see in 2020, and shoot, I know I'm going to see it in 2021, is a movie that should not have been this good. Court drama, political issues, a political fight, police brutality. Amazing. Amazing, this movie. And that is The Trial of the Chicago 7 on Netflix. I cannot believe how good this movie was. This movie was written by Andrew Sorkin, I believe, and he did what Andrew Sorkin does. Makes good written stories for people to put onto film. You know, I know my friends or the guys on the podcast talk about The West Wing. I've never saw The West Wing. But to me, this movie gives me a reason to watch West Wing. If this is what the writing is like or what the story will be like, oh my God, I need to watch West Wing. But let's get back to The Trial of Chicago 7 being an absolutely amazing movie with Redmayne is the main character in the story, but also you got Sacha Baron Cohen absolutely killing it as Abby Hoffman in this movie. If you don't feel something in this movie, something's wrong with you, man. You gotta feel something. You know, you from them getting beat up by the police, or from some of the scenes, like for instance, the police officer taking off his badge. Whoa, tough. Or even some of the scenes between Abby Hoffman and also Eddie Redmayne's character in the movie, their argument. And to see the things that happened in the trial with the judge, I can't even just really describe everything that movie was and did. I mean, that the courtroom itself, which is where basically most of the movie happens, is absolutely phenomenal. You know, you have a couple of scenes in there that'll drop your jaw and just absolutely just tear your mind apart and tear your heart apart. So my number 1 thing that you should have seen in 2020, or you should still see because it is still 2020, and that's going to be The Trial of the Chicago 7. So guys, listen, I thank you for watching. I thank you for this year of 2020 during one of the hardest and roughest times that we've had in God knows how long, you know, and for different people, different things you've experienced. I wish you all the best, and I hope 2021 is a lot better for you guys. And listen, if you're watching this, you know, subscribe to our channel. We do a weekly podcast or a weekly video that talks about movies that are either coming out or blockbusters that are coming out. And we have a lot of fun just talking a bunch of crap with movies, and we're just talking as friends. So join us in our podcast on our YouTube, subscribe, follow, you know, like, and do all the things that you do with your regular social media there. And we hope for a better 2021, and we look forward to you to being one of our listeners and subscribers. So thank you again for 2020, because it's one of the best years for us as far as listeners, subscribers, views, and all those things that happen as you move along in your career, talking about the things that we love, which is movies. So again, guys, we thank you. I thank you personally. Thank you for watching my top 10 things you should have seen in 2020. And we'll see you on the podcast. Till next time.